Hey guys, what's up? It is Dan Lags, and in this video I'm going to be doing another terraforming tutorial. So if you guys remember, about 9-ish months ago, I did a video called Basic Terraforming Tips for Minecraft, and that video I just gave some basic terraforming tips for just real simple things, but towards the end of that video, I mentioned that I wanted to do a more advanced video on terraforming, and that's what this video is going to be. So in this video, I'm going to be working on a waterfall. I'm going to try to show you guys how to build a waterfall in Minecraft to the best of my ability, and give you guys some pointers on if you want to add a waterfall to your world. So I notice a lot of people try to add waterfalls to their worlds, and I'm just going to try to give you some basic pointers today on how to kind of do this, and hopefully it'll be some sort of advanced terraforming thing. So what I notice a lot of people doing with waterfalls is they just place like one block of water on a mountain or something like that and just let it flow down, and they call that their waterfall. And that's fine, I guess, but honestly it doesn't really look that realistic. It doesn't really matter if it looks realistic in Minecraft or not, but in this video I'm going to be showing you guys how to make like something that looks a little bit more realistic. So of course waterfalls come in all shapes and sizes. You have tall waterfalls, short waterfalls, you have wide waterfalls, and you have slim waterfalls. So in this video I'm going to try to do a relatively tall waterfall that covers pretty much to the top of this hill right here. So I'm going to start the source of the waterfall up here, and I'll obviously flow it down to the lake. And as far as the width of it, I'll probably make it fairly wide, but not super duper wide. Just try to make a standard waterfall what you would think it would look like. So of course I'm using the Skyrim mashup pack world for this, which is actually like perfect for this because there's a lot of cliffs and there's a big lake in the middle. So that's where I'm going to be doing this tutorial, and let's go ahead and get started. So tip number one, this isn't like 100% important for the waterfall itself, but for realism it probably makes a little bit of sense. And what you need is a source for the waterfall. Obviously, you know, back when I was like 5 years old, I thought like, how, you know, where does the water come from in waterfalls? Is it just like there? You know, I didn't really understand that, but the thing is, there's some sort of river or source of water, a lake or whatever, coming from the top of the waterfall that allows the water to fall into a lower area. So we have to create that to start off, and what you really kind of need to do is just make a little canal here, and that'll kind of like act as your river. I'm not going to go too much into this because again, it's pretty simple. All you have to do really is just kind of create a river up here or something like that, or a lake or something like that. Waterfalls are best for like a drop off and a cliff, and there aren't a whole lot of those in Minecraft in terms of like a big flat space and then a drop off into a lower area. This world's actually pretty nice for that, but there aren't a whole lot of biomes in Minecraft that are like that, but you can, you know, kind of get the idea. So we're going to start off with the source. So let me go ahead and just break this out. We're going to make this a little bit wider. I'm going to try to take this out as wide as I want to. And the inspiration I got for this was actually from the quick cribs that we did for live stream a few days ago. We did custom biome, as was the topic, and I chose to build a waterfall biome. And I thought, like, you know, this could be like the final idea that I could have for like this advanced terraforming tutorial that I wanted to do. And I've been wanting to do this for a while. I just could never think of something to actually build for it. So we've got a nice little start here. We have a pretty wide space, and this is going to be filled in with water later on. But before we do that, we need to start to carve out the actual space where the water is going to fall. And that part really, you can do two things for that. You can either like actually just like start to break a mountain, like that's what I'm going to do. But you can also just actually like create something on the side, so you can like, that way you don't have to change the waterfall or like the actual like part where it's dropping a whole lot. But for the sake of realism, water usually drops pretty much straight down off a waterfall. It isn't really going like down the side of a hill. It's like pretty much a cliff, and that's kind of like what we're going to be doing. We're going to be terraforming this, modifying this landscape here, and basically just creating like a big cliff that's just going to drop down. And ideally you want your water pretty much going down at a 90-degree angle. You want it to be pretty much the you know, pretty much a 90-degree angle from like the lake. So that's really what I'm going to be trying to do. So the next few minutes of this video is going to be me starting to kind of just, I don't know what the word would be, maybe like erode this space and just kind of carve it out really. And like that's the key. You want to try to use a lot of stone for this. You can add multiple levels to the waterfall as well. I'll kind of show you some of that, some of those ideas later on. But for the start, I'm just going to break this space, and I might even show you guys like what I mean by that in a second here once we kind of get down to like this plane right here. So let's just keep on breaking, and we'll get there when we get there. So yeah, we're going to do this, and then also when I'm done, I can add some like trees and things like that. And Occasionally you'll see maybe like a waterfall with like a tree hanging out of the middle of it or something like that. Something, you know, really cool. And, you know, one of the amazing things of nature. But, you know, that's, we don't necessarily have to do. I can certainly show you guys, like, at least my general ideas of what we could do for that. But just to start, we're just going to kind of erode this space. And it doesn't have to be, like, any, like, the thing about these kind of videos is it's really up to you. I'm just kind of giving you pointers. You know, there's no real rhyme or reason to me terraforming this right now. I'm just kind of breaking random blocks, like, that I see fit. And you kind of just have to sculpt the land, you know, to the best of your ability, really. There's no, like, absolute way to do it, right? Alright, so let me go ahead and do that. And as you can see, we've kind of, like, sculpted this cliff a little bit, so it's kind of, like, pushed in a little bit, and there's some stone exposed now instead of just being all grass, which is good. We're on a good, you know, start here. So let me just kind of fill this in with a little bit more dirt here, just to kind of sculpt the sides so the water doesn't flow in a weird spot. That's like one of the most important things you got to keep in mind, is that the water is going to flow pretty much straight down, and it'll kind of follow the pathway of the blocks. So you have to make sure you have like a pretty, you know, I guess steep side, so you can actually kind of define where the water is going to go. Like as you can see, if I dropped water right here, there's a good chance it'll kind of like flow over the top of this, and I don't really want that. So you want to try to kind of manipulate where the water is going to flow by kind of creating like little steeper cliffs on the sides and just adding more blocks to it. And of course, I'm just using dirt for this, but it doesn't really matter what you use. Grass is probably a little bit better, but it'll turn back to grass, so it's no big deal. And you kind of just want to manipulate that space. And the same thing goes right here. So I'm going to kind of start to add some stuff on the sides here, just so the water isn't going to flow in some crazy direction that I don't want it to flow in, because that would be a real problem. So let's see how this is looking right now. So we kind of have that side more or less figured out, and of course over here you don't want to just look like so you just placed a bunch of random blocks. You actually kind of want to smooth it out and then flow it back into the environment. So I'll kind of do something like that with the dirt right here, just to kind of make it so I was never even here. That's like the whole goal of terraforming. Like that's at least like what I think about when I'm terraforming. I just try to make it look like it was there naturally, like no one came in and actually did this, you know what I mean? Like that's the whole point. Obviously for waterfalls, since there aren't like really these kinds of waterfalls in Minecraft, that's not really the case, but for basic terraforming, that's kind of like the motto I follow. You know, you want to make it look like it was actually spawned like that, like the world generated exactly the way it is after you finish your terraform. So right now we're on a nice little spot here, and it's kind of hard for me to kind of, I guess, locate exactly where the sides are, so I'm gonna actually grab some okay, let's use hay bales now. I was gonna grab some red wool, but we'll use some hay bales, right? And I'm just gonna kind of take this down the side just so you guys can get an exact idea of like the borders of this on both sides, so you can kind of see the space that I'm working in. And pretty much where you guys see these hay bales I just placed down, the water's gonna flow in between those, right? So everything in between there is where the water's gonna flow, and I'll get rid of those later, don't worry. So the next thing we have to do is kind of get this next level here, and what I could do is take this all the way down, but I'm not going to try to make a multi-level waterfall here. I think it would be kind of cool, so let's go ahead and at least give it a try. It might not work, but we'll see what happens. And of course right here, I kind of want to, again, kind of take these sides out a little bit so the water doesn't flow off the edge. I want to keep the water on the same path, and it might take a couple of tries when you drop your buckets in terms of like how the water flows. It's going to take a few tries to get it right, but sure you guys will get it after a couple of tries, and it might not even be the first try for me either. So something like that. And then of course I want to kind of shape this a little bit more so it's going to drop in a nice straight path right down into the water. And then down here, pretty much the last thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to pretty much just break all this area here and connect it right to the water so it's connecting to the ground, and it should look pretty nice. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to break this all here. And then I'm going to break this level as well. And places where I'd recommend doing waterfalls like this, if you have like a mountain in your world and you're not really sure what to build on it, this is like definitely something you could do. Add a waterfall. I mean, these look good. Like, who doesn't want to add a waterfall to their world? Everybody loves waterfalls. So, whoops, that's the wrong block. These hay bales are giving me issues. Okay, so let me go ahead and break these hay bales real quick because we're almost ready to drop the water, and see how this looks. So, again. There's plenty of different ways to do waterfalls, like I said at the beginning. You can make them so, like, if you just Google, like, waterfall, just type it into your browser, and you'll find like 100 different waterfalls that look completely different. So it's tough to kind of choose exactly, because there's like different ways you can do it. You can make it so it's like literally 2 blocks wide of water and like dropping straight down, or you can kind of make it like me where it's going to flow a little bit. So let's see what happens. All right, so this part here might be a little bit of an issue, so what I might do is actually kind of just break this a little bit more here, just so I know exactly where the water is going to flow. I want it to be like in a perfect line straight down, so I don't want it flowing off to the sides or anything like that. That would present a little bit of a problem. So I'm just going to terraform this a little bit more here, and I'm going to fill this in with some dirt blocks, and that should be good. So let's go ahead and give this a try. Let's see what happens when we drop the water. I might actually have to change this up a little bit as well, kind of fix this here, because that water needs to kind of flow a little bit better. There we go. So now we're going to drop the water and see how it kind of flows. So we're going to start off on the sides here first. I'm going to kind of do that, and let's see if it flows the way I want it to. So as you can see, the water kind of drops off like that on the sides, and that's not necessarily what I was looking for. So we're going to have to change that a little bit. Let's see how it looks on the other side if I put it right here. And right so far, that's looking pretty good. As you can see, it kind of messed up right there. You have to make sure that you kind of get the block everywhere you want, or it's going to flow off to the side like it did. So this one needs some fixing. Obviously they both do, but let's kind of see where the problem came up. So I think it was like right around here. So what we need to do is we kind of just need to, add some more to this so it won't flow off to the side. That's like a really important thing you got to do with a waterfall. Another way you can do that is just simply like carving this in even more, like on the inside, instead of having to like add blocks on the outside. Honestly, either way works. You just got to keep trying it until you get it right. I'm going to carve this a little bit more actually, so it's a little bit of a steeper drop. So let's kind of just take this down a little bit more. And again, like I said, these are just kind of tips. There's no real rhyme or reason to it. You kind of just have to, play around with the environment really until you kind of get something that you like. So what was the issue over here? I guess a couple of blocks were going too wide, so that's fine. And we will fix that up. So the way I'm going to fix this, I'm actually going to just start to break some blocks on the side here so it's not going to flow off to the edge. And that should pretty much solve this problem. So I'm going to kind of get rid of some of those, wait for the water to kind of drop down, and we'll probably add those blocks back right there just because don't want that going off the edge. I think that probably will be a little bit better. I could probably trim this a little bit more right here, but again, there's no perfect way to do it. All right, you want to try to make sure it's steep though. Like you want almost like a complete vertical drop. You want to shave the mountain as much as you can. So let me take off a little bit more right here, and then I think we'll be good to drop the water again and see what happens. Okay, so let me kind of break that, and let me actually add a couple of blocks right there. All right, so let's see how this is looking from a distance. All right, I think that's a pretty nice little canal there. So let's go ahead and drop this again. We'll place one on the side, and so far so good. Let's see if it kind of drops the way I want. All right, it's looking pretty good so far, and that looks about right. There we go. So let's see what it looks like on the other side now. I'll drop it from right here, and again, we want to make sure it stays off to the side. So far so good. Right there could be a problem. Yeah, that's going to be a little bit of an issue. So what we need to do is we need to grab this water again. And like I said, I wasn't going to get it right the first time, because you got to see how the water flows before you can kind of fix it. Okay, so that's probably going to go there. I got to wait for this water to drop down before I can kind of fix this. Yeah, see, like as you can see on that side there, that's a problem. We got to fix that. Okay, so we're going to kind of take some extra dirt down on the side here to fix this problem. But I think it'll be good after this. Okay, so we're gonna take this up a little bit more, and right here, and let's fill this in. And take this up a little bit. All right, so I think that's good. What I might do is actually kind of get rid of this a little bit more, and take some stuff off the side here a little bit, just to make sure it's perfect, because we want to make sure it flows right. I think that'll be all right. Yeah, I don't see a, actually no, it could be a problem right here. Yeah, that's probably going to be an issue. So let me go and take this up a little bit more with some dirt, and kind of trim this a little bit more. I think from there we'll be all right. Okay, let's give that a try. And break a few more blocks right here. Get rid of some of this coal. Alright, so let's give that a shot. I think that'll be good. So let's go ahead and place the water. Place it there. And I think that's going to be good. So we can actually break a couple of these blocks. We went a little bit overboard with that. But honestly, right there, that's good. And we can kind of take that and... Okay, never mind. I shouldn't have done that. Alright, let me fix that. And I'm going to add a little bit more right there. And this all messed up. So let me kind of resend the water here. Okay, send it again. Okay. So, let's see. What can we do now? No, hold on. The water didn't drop far enough. Come on, game. Okay, let me just let that go resend all the way down before we let it go again. And I think that's going to be good on both sides. Okay. Come on, water. Oh boy. Alright, you know, I'm just going to get rid of all the water and just drop it again, because water is weird in this game. It like sticks to each other even though there's no source block, so I'll just let it drop all the way down. Actually, let me do that. We'll let it drop all the way down again, and then we'll send it again. So, wait, I didn't even drop it here. It's there we go. All right. So let me just take one last look at this hill real quick, and it's looking pretty good. I think I kind of went overboard in the dirt on that side a little bit, but we can always kind of shave that once the water's all put in place and it looks good. So I'm not really seeing too much of an issue with that. Let's go ahead and drop the water on both sides. We're going to drop it from right here, and let's see how it connects to the bottom. And then we'll kind of add the water in the middle, and then we can kind of change some things after that. So far so good. That looks good. All right, sweet. So now what we can do is we can kind of take the water blocks and run them all the way down along the edge here. And I can fill in all of this space and just assume this is our river. And we have ourselves a waterfall. All right, let's see. So as you can see right here, kind of cool when you're coming up to the edge of it and you kind of go off. That's pretty cool. Okay, so there we go, guys. There's our waterfall. That looks pretty nice, doesn't it? Look at it from a distance. I might shave a little bit of that dirt off the side, but if we kind of look at it from far away, it looks pretty cool, doesn't it? Little waterfall coming off the mountain. All right, guys, and then the last couple of tips I have for you for waterfall building in Minecraft. Just gonna add a few of those right now. I've been having a little bit of an icing issue up here. The way this is like pretty high up, so this is well over block 100 on the Y coordinate. So basically, it turns everything into a winter biome, which is like the dumbest feature ever. I was really disappointed when they actually added that, but I'm just gonna try to put some torches down just to kind of keep this, you know, from freezing over. But you know, there's not really a whole lot I can do about that. I'm gonna actually grab some sea lanterns real quick and place them actually like inside the waterfall here. But I'm just gonna add a last couple of little ideas I have for you guys today for the terraforming tips. We're doing a waterfall. I think it turned out pretty solid, and I am really struggling trying to keep this from icing over. There we go. Hopefully that'll do it. All right, so as you can see, here's kind of like the finished product of the waterfall, kind of like a double stacked, double layered waterfall. It's flowing down. A couple of things that I can show you guys that you can add. Thing number one is you can take some webs, and this is actually a pretty cool idea. You can put these at the bottom, and it kind of looks like the water's like crashing down. This is a cool thing. It might look better in other texture packs than the default, but just kind of showing you guys. I use webs for barbed wire fences in Los Angeles, as well as chimney smoke. You can also using it for like rushing water, so it kind of works really nice. So you can kind of place this at the bottom, and it actually looks like the water is actually crashing down onto the lake. I think it looks pretty good. So as you can see there's kind of like a little general idea of what you can do with that. You can add that if you want. It's not 100% necessary, but it is pretty cool. And a couple other things you can do is you can kind of create some extra little landforms up over here. And what you can do is it'll kind of like divide the water a little bit, but you can do this, and I think it is pretty cool. Just create some little extra pieces of land, and that'll kind of be cool. A little addition to your waterfall. I placed that the wrong way. All right, and we'll do that there, and maybe like a block right there. Let's see, we can do one over here as well. Let me kind of place that. I want to make sure I place this in a proper spot, or it's going to really screw up the whole flow of the water. So you got to be real careful with this, or it's gonna mess things up for sure. So let me kind of place that like that, maybe. Place a stone block there, and maybe another dirt block, and then another stone. And you can kind of just add little just spots of land that kind of just separate the water, and that's pretty cool. It will affect the flow a little bit if I redrop the water, obviously, and I could do that. and it would kind of make it a little bit more scattered on the bottom, which could look pretty cool in some instances, so you can do that. And then last but not least, just spam flowers. That's really like what you can do. Depends on like what kind of biome you're in, but it never hurts to just bone meal some things, and that always adds more detail to it. So what I'll just do is kind of like just put some bone meal along the edges of the waterfall and just kind of fill that in. Just put some on the grass, and it'll add some nice little features, and it'll just kind of spruce up the environment a little bit. And you can add some other flowers and things like that. You can even add like a tree up at the top, and like I said earlier, you can add a tree like kind of like off the side. That's another thing that would be pretty crazy, but you can absolutely do that. So just like that, just adding little stuff like that just makes the waterfall look that much better. It actually makes it look like a real thing. Look at that, guys. It looks cool, doesn't it? And then a couple other things we can add. Obviously, like I said, a tree up here. Let me see if I can get one of those real quick. Let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to grab some of the blocks I need for this. I'm going to get some glass, some bone meal, and then some grass blocks. And what I might actually try to do, this is a little bit risky, but I can try this out. What I can do is I can grow the tree off to the side a little bit of the mountain, so it's kind of growing off the side. We can do that. Let me go ahead and just place the tree down. We'll see if this looks good or not. There we go. We have a nice big tree. And what I can do is I can kind of take the trunk and more or less curve it to the way I want and kind of connect it to the hill. So something like that. And let me do that. And we'll actually place one extra block right there. And I can kind of, curve the trunk so it's kind of growing off the side of the mountain. You can do that. That's another cool thing. And let's do another one of those on this side. I'll place it right here. Again, I'm just trying to give you guys as many ideas as possible, just off the top of my mind. I'm sure there's a bunch of other stuff you can do. You can add maybe like a little house off the side of this and add like a little, water mill or something like that. That would be cool. I know I've done that actually on the Skyrim mashup pack before, but that is not a very good looking tree. So I'm gonna go ahead and try that again. Trying to think of anything else we could add. Again, like I said, you can kind of do waterfalls of any shape and size. You can do them with any kind of blocks. You can make this like all stone. That's another thing that looks really cool. I know a lot of waterfalls go off the sides of cliffs, so you can make like the whole thing stone instead of having like any grass at all, and you don't have to have any kind of vegetation or anything, and that would also look pretty cool. So yeah, you can do whatever the heck you want with it, to be honest, and it'll probably be pretty sweet. So there's another decent looking tree. Let's go ahead and take this, and we'll kind of connect it to the earth. I'll do it like right here. I can break that, and we can break this, and we can break that, and maybe place that there, and then boom, we have another tree with a kind of like a slanted trunk that's kind of connected to the side of the hill. So I think that's gonna do it for my waterfall terraforming tips for you guys. We kind of transformed the biome from something that looks really basic to something that's actually cool and detailed and has a lot of awesome features to it. So thank you guys for watching this video. It's been Dangeles. Hopefully you learned something useful here that you could implement to your worlds and just kind of make them even more creative. So again, guys, give it a like if you did enjoy it. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out.